Good evening, everyone. Karibuni sana to the deep dive series. We are just about 7 minutes late. We were just setting up, and we are really excited to be back. It's been a long break, and some of you have been asking where we've been, but we've just been doing a bit of restructuring. But we are now back and back with a bang. Karibuni sana, anyone from NBPS alumni. We also want to welcome anyone else who's also not part of the alumni, but you are also part of our family because you've been able to join us today. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much, anyone else who may see this live stream later on because it's live on our YouTube channel, which is NBPS Alumni Association. You can find this and many more that we've been having throughout the year. So today we are really, really excited. We have our lovely guest with us. I will introduce her shortly, and she's taking us through today. And we are talking about going beyond the scale, and we are learning all things nutrition. So today, our speaker is here with us. We are going to dive into understanding our body composition. We'll dive into what we are eating, the power of the plate, so that we can really know, what to eat or what not to eat. And I know December is just around the corner, and we want to, have our summer bodies on. So we really need to understand how we need to be eating while we are working out for those who are working out. And it's a really interesting session that we will have with us today. So in case you've joined us, please invite your friends, send the link to our YouTube channel to your friends so that they can join in from now till 9 p.m. At the end of the session, we may have like a 15 minutes interactive session for anyone who'd like to add on to what we will have discussed, just to make it lively and have various input. You can also send your comments and questions on the chat section, and we'll be able to answer. And we hope that you'll have a really, really amazing time. So I don't want to preempt what she's about to speak. I'll just allow her to join us and introduce herself. So, Mary, you're going to introduce yourself to the audience. They'll get to know you. They'll get to know how long you've been in the industry. I don't want to tell them. I just want you to shock them. And you also go ahead and dive into the topic of today as we learn about mindful eating, our nutrition, and how it affects our mental health. We're all working out for our summer bodies. So we really want to know how we are going to achieve that. So karibuni everyone, please share the link and invite many, 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 many to join us. So Mary, the stage is yours. Karibu sana.
Okay, thank you so much, Marcy, for this invitation. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining. So I'll just introduce myself. My name is Mary Adhiambo. I'm a registered dietitian. I've been practicing nutrition in the country now for just over 7 years. Yeah, I know I look 18, but I've been practicing for just over 7 years now. I specialize in new moms, and by new moms, I mean mothers 1 year post delivery and below. So I help them with lactation, maintaining a healthy weight, and what to feed themselves and their children and their babies at that point. Yeah, so in my 7 years of experience, I think I'm very excited today to share my knowledge with you so that you can be using your food as fuel and not poison. So I don't know if we are ready to start, Mercy, with the presentation that is. Hi, Mercy, are you able to start because I'm not able to see the presentation? Okay, so the presentation is loading. Okay, so as she displays the presentation, I'm hoping to have a very interactive session because I think I'll take maybe 30 minutes maximum. Then from there we can just have a question and answer session because usually whenever I talk to groups, I find that majority of the session becomes question and answer. So I'd love to hear from you at the end of the session, and I think perhaps we can have an interactive session after my presentation. So I look forward to hearing your thoughts as well. So
All right, I think we are good to go. You can begin.
okay. So Marcy is displaying the presentation at the side. I hope everyone is able to see. Maybe you can type in the chat if you're able to see the presentation clearly, if you're able to hear me clearly, so that we know you are there and everything is okay. Maybe we think it's okay, but it's not. Okay, so we are going to start. So we can just go to the next slide. Okay, so we'll start with our agenda. So this is our agenda for today. I talked to Mercy and the team, and they told me these are the 4 things that you would like to hear the most about. So let's get right into it with the first topic next. Yeah, we can go to the next slide. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is body composition. Next slide. Yeah. So I would like to start the session with asking you a question. What do you think is a healthy weight? Is it A, being thin and petite? Is it B, having a normal BMI? Is it C, having a normal fat mass? Or is it D, being between 50 to 70 kgs for women and 60 to 80 kgs for men? So just type your answer in the comment section in the live chat. Let's see what people are saying. I don't know, Mercy, if you can help me with that.
Yes, Mary, I got you. I'm here. I'll be sending all the comments on the screen once people get to join in. So feel
Oh,
free to just move on slowly as we wait for them.
okay, okay, no problem.
Yes. But also, in case we are not able to have any comments immediately, we can just go through everything slowly, and then we'll come back to the questions because we're still waiting for people to join.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
So just continue to the next slide. Okay. So the correct answer for the previous question, as you come in and you share your comments, would be C, having a small fat mass. So basically, body composition is your weight distributed in terms of muscle, fat, bone, and water. So these are the 4 major tissues in your body, and their ratio to each other is a better determinant of your health than BMI. That's because the studies that established BMI were done in Western countries, so they may not fit exactly perfectly within our situation here. They are used, yes, they are good, but they may not fit perfectly with us. So, for example, a woman with a BMI of 27 here in Kenya, a BMI of 27 is considered overweight. If another woman, let's say from China, also has a BMI of 27, you saw them physically, you'll find that the woman from China looks bigger than the physically than the woman from Kenya. So BMI doesn't apply perfectly. And also there are people who it cannot, it also does not apply to. For example, someone like, let's say, the Rock. The Rock, if he did like a body composition analysis, probably his BMI would read as obese, but he's not obese because majority of his weight is muscle. So if so long as your muscle and your fat composition are within range, then you are considered to be having a healthy body weight. So this body composition is a bit more accurate than BMI. So there's a weighing scale at the bottom of the slide. It's called a biometric impedance analysis machine. So it looks like a normal weighing scale, and then I don't know if you can see the two rods at the side. When you get your measurement taken, you just step on it like you would a normal weighing scale. You hold the two rods at the side in front of you and lift it up. And then within a minute and a half or so, it's going to be able to measure your body composition. Yeah, so it passes a very small electric current through your body and then uses conductivity to determine what is bone, what is muscle, fat, water, because they all have a different conductivity. But don't worry, you never feel the electric current. So we use this machine to do your body composition. We can go to the next slide. Yeah. So again, this would be a quick question for you to help me answer in the comment section. Have you ever had your body composition done? So yes, if you've had your body composition done. No, if you've heard of it, but you've just if you've never even heard of it. And then C is if you've heard of it but never done it before. I don't know if we can get to see comments now, or I'm moving a bit fast.
Yeah, we don't have any comments yet. So
Okay,
maybe we can skip the questions and then we can like go back later.
okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can go to the next slide. Okay, so once you get on the machine, after a minute and a half or so, these are the measurements you're going to get. We already discussed the fat and muscle. So it's going to give you your fat and muscle as a percentage of your total body weight. Because again, like we said, body composition is the distribution of these four things. So for example, if you are 70 kgs, let's say, it will tell you how much of that 70 kgs is fat, how much of that 70 kgs is muscle, how much of it is body water and bone. Other than those four key measurements, it will also give you your BMI. It will also give you a measure of your visceral fat. So to explain this a bit more, there are two kinds of fats in the body. The first one is called subcutaneous. It's the fat just underneath your skin layer. And then the other one, I don't know if you've ever been able or ever slaughtered a chicken, or perhaps been around a place where you've seen someone slaughter a chicken. If you've had that opportunity, you would know that there's usually a fat layer surrounding the kidneys and the heart. So that fat layer surrounding major body organs is the one that's called visceral fat. It's easier to lose than the other kind of fat, but it's a bit more dangerous if you have it in excess. The other measurement is metabolic age. So there is a difference between your chronological age and metabolic age. Your chronological age, let's say if you're 38, you are 38 chronologically because you were born 38 years ago. But you can find that your metabolic age can be like 52. That means that your body is running like that of a person who is 52 years old. So that's why you'll find that these days people are getting lifestyle diseases very early. Like you can be 44, for example, and you are diabetic or you have hypertension. Things that normally happen to elderly people are happening to you early because your metabolic age is high, and that happens usually because because of your lifestyle. You're not eating well, you're not working out, and you are living a high stress lifestyle. The opposite is also true. If you are eating well and you are active and you have low stress, then your metabolic age usually equals your own chronological age, or sometimes it can even be less. Like the same 38-year-old eating well, having a good lifestyle can be having a metabolic age as low as 25. Yeah. So I hope that explains it a bit better. And then the final measurement is DCN, meaning daily caloric need. So this is just like a number that the nutritionist usually uses to make your diet. So on this slide, this is just the distribution of body fat. So as you can see, there are a number of ladies over here showing like fat distribution as per body composition. So we start at 12% to the highest at 48%. So you can look at the ladies over there and then you can see where you lie. Are you closer to the 30% lady? Are you closer to the 15%? You can have a look at it and uh, see where you fall. So usually women are supposed to have a fat percentage of between 20 to 30%. If you are above 30, then you are overweight. The higher you are away than 30, the more likely the more you are tending towards obesity. Then, on the other hand, if you fall below 20%, it's still okay. But falling below 10% is not recommended because it affects your hormones. But don't use that as an excuse that, oh, I'm not going to work out much because I don't want my fat percentage to fall below 10. That's a very difficult number to get to for women. Usually, the people with less than 10% body fat are professional athletes or bodybuilders. Yeah, so we can go to the next slide so we can see about the men. Yes. So this is the slide for the men, 8% to 40%. So I'd like you to note something, that the gentleman who is at 40%, the very last gentleman on the bottom row, versus the lady who is 40%. We can go back a slide. Yeah, versus the lady who is 40%, the lady in pink at the second last bottom row. You'll find that compared to the gentleman, the lady looks thinner at the same fat percentage. We can go back to the next slide. Yeah, so that happens because normally men pack more muscle than women. That's what makes them more stronger. And they pack less fat compared to women. So, for example, if a woman and a man are both 65, you'll find that in their weight distribution, their body composition, the woman will have more fat than the man, and the man will have more muscle than the woman. So because of that, the healthy fat ranges for men is between 10% to 20%. Above 20, you're overweight. And then the farther you are from 20, the higher you go, you're now tending towards obesity. For men, it's okay to fall below 10%. It does not affect your hormones. There are men who even get up to 3% body fat, like the bodybuilders. So for men, accumulating fat is not, you don't have a higher range as compared to the women. So again, the men, you can have a look at the men around on the screen and see where you fit. Yeah, you can go to the next slide. Yeah, so I hope you've understood a little bit more about body composition. Should you have questions, we'll take them at the end. So let's go to the second topic, the mindful eating, the power of the plate. Next. Yeah, we can proceed to the next slide so that we can get into the topic of mindful eating. Okay, so on the screen is five different places in the world, five different locations called blue zones. So blue zones are places in the world with the highest number of centenarians. So a centenarian is a person who has lived to be 100 or 100 plus. So basically, the blue zones are places with the highest life expectancy, where people live the longest in the world. These communities also not only have people living the longest, but people in these communities also have good health quality even in their elderly age. Unlike here, where you find that, you know, someone who is just 40 is struggling to get over matatus, they are complaining of back pain, they struggle to get up 2 flights of stairs. There you'll find 90-year-olds who are able to take a stroll around the neighborhood. So we can move on to the next slide. The next slide is just a question which we will answer as we in the comment section as we proceed. What do you think these blue zones have in common? What do you think that it makes them special? What do you think makes them live as long as they do? Research has been done to find out more about this, but you can give us a guess as to what do you think allows these people to live that long. Next slide. Yeah, so you can comment whether you think it's A, community and good diet, B, good diet and financial stability, or C, financial stability and exercise. We can go to the next slide. Yeah, so the correct answer actually is A, community and good diet. So, what the blue zones have in common are these six different things. Number one, adequate sleep. And adequate sleep is 8 hours. If you sleep more than 8 hours to 9 hours, 10, 11, 12, it's okay. It has no health benefit, but it's still okay. If you go below 8 hours, then you're denying your body the opportunity to recover from the day. So, the lower you are from 8 hours, the more you are punishing your body. The other reason why people in blue zones live for long is community. So the way we live here in Nairobi is not conducive to longevity, because I've had plenty of stories of people where you are living in an apartment complex, and then in broad daylight, thieves come, they steal your furniture, they steal your electronics, and everyone just watches them and they let them go because they're assuming it's you. They don't know this is a thief because they don't know who are their neighbors. So they are not sure if this is a thief or not. So they just let them carry your stuff away. So that kind of living where you're not in community with your family members, with your neighbors, with your friends, is not conducive for a long life. Number three, active lifestyle. Exercise is a cornerstone of long life. We are not meant to be stagnant and stationary. So if you work in a place where you sit for a long time, it's good that every few hours you wake up and walk around. You can decide after work to be taking a stroll around the neighborhood. You can join a gym. That would be the best. But if you cannot, you can do also this other small stuff, like you can get a jump rope and be skipping in the house. And at worst, if you really cannot do any of this, you can just decide and make a decision. You know what, from tomorrow morning I'm going to be doing 2 sit-ups every day. It's better you start from very little and build up than to do nothing at all. Next, a sense of purpose. So I'm not the best person to speak about this because I'm not a mental health expert, but having a sense of purpose also increases your life expectancy. Number five, plant-based diet. We'll talk about that in the next slide. And finally, low stress lifestyles. So, stress is one of the most destructive habits we have, in the sense that stress is good, it's advantageous in that, like, our hunter gatherer ancestors required stress to get them in action. For example, if the food was running low, being stressed is what would push you to go and hunt or find a different place where you to live, where you can have access to more food. Or if you saw, like, a group of lions, I don't know what you call a group of, is it a pack of lions, whatever it is, but if you saw a bunch of lions coming your way, you need to be stressed so that you react. It activates your fight or flight mode. So you would notice that stress is supposed to be in your body for very short amounts of time. However, in the lifestyles we are currently living in Nairobi, we are perpetually stressed. Like, you're stressed 20 Monday to Monday, you're stressed January to January, you're just perpetually stressed. So you're allowing hormones that normally are supposed to be in your blood for a very short amount of time to be there for an extended period of time, and they become very destructive. They cause chronic inflammation, and it just predisposes you to lifestyle diseases and early death. You can go to the next slide. Yeah, so we can go to the next slide where we will discuss, like, this plant-based diet. But basically, you don't necessarily have to be a vegetarian to live long, although vegetarians have been known to live up to 5 years longer than meat eaters. So it may be something you can consider, but otherwise, whether you're a vegetarian or a meat eater, next slide. In the next slide, there's the four things you need to do to make sure that you are eating right, like you're eating for longevity. Marcy, I don't know if you're able to hear me. We'd like to move to the next slide.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, we are back. I had lost you for a minute, Mary.
Okay.
All right, you can proceed.
Okay. I'm not sure. I'm not able to see my slides. Marcy, are you able to hear me? Oh, okay, perfect.
I can I can hear you. Yes.
Okay, we can go to the next slide. Okay, so these are the four healthy meal tips that you need to implement to make sure that you live your longest and you are healthy up until the very end. Number one, balance. So, balance is what we were taught in primary school, and I know everyone here went to primary because this is our primary school group. So, balance means just every time you eat, there's a carbohydrate, there's a protein, and there's a fruit or vegetable for every meal. So it doesn't have to necessarily be every meal, but at least have it at two meals. The other thing is variety. So this is going to target mostly our brothers and sisters from the western region of the country or the lakeside, where ugali is considered the only meal. In fact, it's a fireable offense when wives cook rice or spaghetti. You strictly feel like ugali is the only thing that's a meal. That's not the way to go. You need to vary because there are over 40 nutrients. And if you're eating the same exact thing majority of the week, then it becomes difficult to get all these nutrients every day. Yeah, so you need to vary your meals. Next is portions. So the easiest way I can tell you how to portion is there's a Japanese concept where you're supposed to eat until you're 80% full. Don't eat until you're 100% full, or even 110, where you are now popping open buttons to make room, to make space for your stomach because you've really eaten. Yeah, you're supposed to eat until you're 80%. And 80% feels like you are eating, but you're leaving space as if you are feeling full, but you're leaving space as if you're about to eat dessert. That's getting to 80%. Like where you're full, but you're still leaving room where you can actually go for a few more tablespoons, but at this point you're all right. So that's how you portion your food. And then for energy balance, I'll show you pictographically in the next slide. Okay, so this is the eat well plate. If you eat like this, then you are going to achieve energy balance. And just to simplify it, the yellow part of the plate, like a third of your plate should be carbohydrates, a third of your plate should be vegetables, and then the remaining third we divide it across proteins, that is meat, dairy, legumes, and a small percentage for fat and processed foods like sweets and confectionery, and if you indulge alcohol, so a very small percentage of the plate for that. So this is how you're supposed to eat to achieve energy balance and to maintain health. So this is not for everyone. This is for healthy people who are trying to maintain weight. If you want to lose weight or gain weight, or if you are pregnant or elderly, this plate may shift a little, but this is the basic plate for someone who wants to live healthy and maintain their weight as is. We can go to the next slide so that we can see what you're supposed to be eating if you would like to lose weight. Yeah, so this is the plate if you would like to lose weight, where a quarter of your plate is carbohydrates, strictly whole grains. And the other quarter of your plate is protein, and then a half of your plate is fruits and vegetables. So this is the plate for weight loss. Next slide. Okay, so we are going to the third topic, which is nutrition. Okay, so this is another poll question. What does it feel like when you're about to propose? This is for the men or the women, depending, or if you are awaiting a test result, either from a medical exam or like a school exam. Describe how your body feels. So since we'll be typing this in the chat box, so majority of people describe this feeling of anxiety as butterflies in the stomach. So this ties in to the fact that nutrition and mental health are strongly linked because okay, we can go to the next slide so that I can explain it better. Yeah. So there is an association between your brain and your gut. This is the strongest connection between nutrition and mental health. In fact, sometimes the gut has been referred to as the second brain because there is a two-way street between the gut and the brain where something you feel mentally, for example, like anxiety, is manifests physically as feeling weird in your stomach, and vice versa. The brain also, the gut is the brain is affecting the gut, and there's also this situation of emotional eating where you have a mental issue. For example, you've gone through a heartbreak, someone has character developed you in these Nairobi streets, and you decide to comfort yourself using food. So there's a strong association between the gut and the brain. And the reason for this association is the 100 trillion microorganisms living in your gut. These microorganisms are predominantly bacteria and they're called the gut microbiome. So this gut microbiome, we have a symbiotic relationship with it in the sense that they eat the undigested food left over, like fiber we are unable to digest, and in exchange they give us nutrients like vitamin B6 and K. So I don't know if it would surprise you to know that 95% of serotonin, which is the feel good hormone, this is the hormone you get when you receive a text from, from a loved one. Like, it's a feel good hormone. It puts you in a good mood, it puts you in a relaxed mood, it makes you cheerful. So, this serotonin hormone is 95% of it is produced by the gut microbiome. So, because the gut microbiome plays a huge role in our mood, you'll find that depressed people have like bad gut microbiome. Bad to mean that usually there's a balance between good bacteria and bad bacteria. If this balance is off, then you start experiencing mood issues. So, majority of studies show that majority of depressed people have higher amounts of bad bacteria than normal people. We can go to the next slide so that we can discuss more about like this good and bad bacteria. So there are certain aspects that affect the number of good and bad bacteria. In certain situations, the bad bacteria will outgrow the good ones, and in other situations, the good outgrow the bad. So we are trying to achieve either a balance or the good to be more. So the factors that affect good and bad bacteria, and by extension, your mood, is diet. We'll discuss that more in the next slide. Medication, for example, antibiotics. If you take antibiotics, you'll find that, for example, if you have a sore throat and you take antibiotics, the antibiotic will kill the bacteria causing your sore throat. However, it will also kill the bacteria in your gut. So it's important that after taking antibiotics, you eat the things I'm going to tell you in the next slide so that you replenish your gut microbiome. Age, as you become older, it becomes harder to maintain a good balance between good bacteria versus bad. And then again, sleep and activity are coming up. If you don't sleep enough, or if you don't exercise, or if you're not active enough, again, it causes the balance to tip towards the bad bacteria. We can go to the next slide so that we can see which foods to avoid so that for the best mental health and good gut microbiome, and which foods you're supposed to eat. Yeah, so you can go to the next slide. Yeah. So for optimum mental health, you're supposed to avoid number one, sugar. So if you can't completely avoid it, but if it's difficult, you don't really have to avoid it. You can just have 2 to 3 not tablespoons, teaspoons. Let me be clear, teaspoons in the morning with your tea. That's fine. But the further you go higher than that, the more likely you are to destroy your gut microbiome and with it your mood. Um, ultra processed foods. Those are like foods like Indomie and these cured meats like sausages, beef brawn. Yeah, those kinds of things are yeah, so those kinds of things usually can cause your good bacteria to die and encourage the bad bacteria to grow. HFC, this is high fructose corn syrup. It's a sweetener that is usually added to most processed foods like ice cream like I put there, and these juices like Del Monte and such, they contain this, so you should not have them often. Red meat. So red meat is not bad. However, you should eat it about 2 to 3 times a week. Beyond that, it starts to tip the balance of your gut microbiome. And finally, alcohol. If you like to indulge, I'm not telling you to completely avoid. However, um, limit your alcohol intake if you want to maintain good gut microbiome. On the other side, these are the things you're supposed to eat. Number one, antioxidants. So antioxidants, simply put, are found in plant foods like fruits and vegetables. Omega-3, this is found in fish. Fiber and whole grains are also food for gut microbiome. So you need to have as much fiber. Fiber is fruits and vegetables. Whole grains is eating brown but instead of white. And then finally, probiotics. So anything fermented contains probiotics. For example, fermented porridge contains probiotics. Mala and yogurt, as you can see there, they actually contain live bacteria cultures that actually add to the ones in your gut already and encourage the growth of other beneficial bacteria. So we can go to the next slide. Mercy, are you able to hear me? I hope you're able to hear me. Okay, perfect. So let's finish up with nutrition myth busters. We'll talk about a few things that people say and then we find out if they're true or false. We can go to the next slide. Okay, so this is the first statement. Honey is healthier than sugar. So is this true or false? We can go to the next slide to find out. So the thing is, the correct answer is false. Honey and sugar are equal nutritionally. There's no advantage of taking one over the other. Next slide. Lactating mothers should eat for two. Is this true or false? We can go to the next slide to find out. So the correct answer is false. When you're pregnant, usually that's the time where you accumulate weight, and then this weight is supposed to be converted to breast milk once you give birth. So once the baby is born, you don't need to eat for two. You really don't need to eat for two. You just need to be smart about how you eat, but you don't need to double your portions because you're breastfeeding. Next. Okay, the next thing is taking supplements regularly is healthy. Let's find out if this is true or false. So the answer is false. Supplements should be given only under the supervision of a healthcare provider. That is, this taking supplements, GNLD, and all these things where salespeople are just trying to sell you a supplement. You don't know what the dose is. They just tell you drink as much as you want or as much as you need. It's not a healthy practice, because actually you're supposed to get all your nutrients from your food if you are healthy, young, all these things. You should only get supplements if something is going on. For example, if you're pregnant, you get iron and folic acid supplements because you need more iron and folic acid than you can eat from your diet. When you have malaria, maybe they can give you an iron supplement. If you are elderly, you can get some supplements. But if you're just okay, there's no need to be taking supplements, because at the end of the day, you don't know what you're actually deficient in. Maybe you are taking supplements for things you already have, but the things you're deficient in, you are not taking because you've not done a test like they do in hospitals before they give you a supplement. So let's go to the next slide so that I can explain to you further how harmful it can be to be taking supplements regularly, especially if they are not recommended by a doctor. So this is an example with vitamin A. So the RDA, meaning the amount of vitamin A you need to take daily, is 18,000 IUs international units. It's a measure of vitamins. So you need to be taking 1800 IU to 3600 IUs of vitamin A daily. The amount found in 100 grams of carrot, which not many people actually even take 100 grams of carrot, is 16,706 IUs. However, the amount in a vitamin A supplement, some have 50,000 international units. So as you can see, it's difficult to overdose with like carrot. You need to eat a lot of carrot for you to overdose. But for vitamin A supplements, even taking the supplement, this particular supplement itself is already overdosing. If you continuously take it regularly, you'll find that it starts to affect your body, because too much vitamins is actually poisonous. So only take, we can go to the next slide, only take supplements when you have been directed by a healthcare provider to avoid issues. Yeah. So the next one, skipping breakfast helps you lose weight. We can go to the next slide. I'm curious to see what people will say about this, if it's true or false. But yeah, the correct answer for this is, yeah, we can go to the next slide, is true actually. So skipping breakfast does help you lose weight, because it's a type of diet. We can go into the next slide. It's a type of diet called intermittent fasting, and it's a very effective way to lose weight. We can go to the next slide. Okay, onions become toxic when cut and left unused overnight. So I've had this one a number of times, and it's not true, it's false. And next slide. Porridge causes a pot belly. Yeah, we can go into the next slide. So the answer is false. What actually causes a pot belly is genetic. And finally, low fat foods are healthier. Again, this is false. Just because our food is low fat does not necessarily make it healthier than another food that does not make this health claim. Yeah, so we are at our final slide. So I'll send it over back to you, Marcy, for any questions, any discussions we need to have.
All right. Wow. Thank you so much, Mary. Thank you for the amazing session that you've taken us through. I can see a few of us have joined, but no one has sent in their questions yet. I think people are just trying to digest all that, and even to just justify the myth busters that you've just sent us. It's interesting to know that honey and sugar. I didn't even think, I always thought if I put honey in my tea, it's healthier than putting sugar. So there's a lot out there that people have been saying that is not true. So we are glad to know that from an expert. I've also understood that porridge doesn't cause a pot belly. Personally, I was against taking porridge because of that. And it's also interesting to know that happens, but it's amazing to know and to learn all these things. So I think at this point we can like just give our final pointers because of our time and the fact that maybe most people will get to watch this later, which is still fine. The link is still available. We are live on our YouTube channel, so we can get to watch this later. This is the first deep dive series since we took our break, so it's a good beginning, and I know we'll have more and more people on. So it's amazing to learn all that, and I know that we'll get to keep learning. Mary, we will invite you once again so that you can teach us more and more. So, for anyone who would like to get to reach you, I have displayed your contacts on the screen so that they can be able to reach you for corporate. I see you do individual trainings and you also do corporate trainings. So these are your contacts on the screen for everyone else to be able to see and reach out to you. So I think that's it for now. Thank you so much, Mary, for your time. Thank you for the insights. Thank you for the patience because you were online, I don't know since when. Thank you for honoring our invite and for coming on board. So, Asanteni Sana, I think, Mary, we can end it at that. And I'm sure we have really educated so many people. And I'm looking forward to another session with you. I think for me now, it's good night. Have a lovely evening, everyone. Mary, you'd
Okay.
like to say your goodbyes and then we log out?
Okay, thank you so much for those who are attending the live stream and those who will watch later. It's been a pleasure.
Yes. All right. Bye, guys. See you in the next one.